Well, yeah, this your boy J Fat, J Figgity and the Biggity. So, I told my Chat GPT to ask me some clarifying questions so I can start building my skeleton for this book. I've done it before, but the progress got lost. Anyway, the questions they asked me was opening scene. What age do you see the version of James do we first meet? I think I'm gonna pick 17-year-old leaving home. The options was Child James and Gary, 17-year-old leaving home, truck driver James, USPS security James, present day reflective James looking backward. And I think that it should start about when I was 17 leaving home. As far as what this book is really about, the options that they asked me for clarifying questions was learning how to love correctly, surviving chaos, becoming yourself, breaking generational cycles, turning pain into wisdom, learning masculinity / becoming a man, F something else, and I can pick multiple. 3. This is a question that I was like, let me start recording because this is an interesting question. Relationship weight questions. What percentage of the book do you imagine being relationship, women, sex, family, career, work, money, spirituality, growth, and identity? Okay. Wow. The Kezi question. Important. Your sister's story and everything surrounding that is massive. Do you see this? Do you see that tragedy as a central pillar of the book? Important background context. Something revealed slowly through clues. D, unsure. Honestly, I feel unsure. But 5, ending feelings, not ending plot. Right. Yeah, because I said that I don't necessarily want to end the whatchamacallit and the story because it's a journal of my life, but I just want to maybe catch up, get it locked in up to this point. Most important questions. What are you more afraid of? Leaving important things out or being too vulnerable and putting too much in? Answer these. I think we can start building a real outline there. Okay, chat. So that's what I'm working with. I'm going to try to give some answers, the ones we talked about, and I'll be right back. Okay, I got more clarifying questions. So the next set of clarifying questions that they asked me after they said that the questions that I last answered said that the story of how James became James. Anyway, the 7th question is the 17-year-old departure. What made that moment important enough to be page 1? Shit. There was some things about that, especially like when, anyway, I answer that and I'll get back to you as this goes along. Anyway, the 8th question, villain question. This is important. Every story has an antagonist. Who or what is the main thing James is fighting? Poverty, loneliness, women, himself, chaos, validation seeking, family patterns. Addiction, not necessarily substances, or something else. I can choose multiple. Question 9, masculinity question. When you say learning masculinity / becoming a man, what does that mean to you? Which feels closest? Becoming disciplined, becoming emotionally strong, becoming a provider, Learning boundaries, leadership slash responsibility, learning not to chase validation, G, something else. 10. Core repeating patterns. When readers keep seeing James make mistakes, what is the mistake that keeps repeating? Is it rescuing people, ignoring red flags, confusing sex and connection, overspending for relationships, loneliness discussions, trusting too quickly, or something else? What are they trying to say? Are they trying to say those are my favorite? Anyway, be back with more answers. Alright, they saying, James, I think we just discovered something more. I don't think your book is primarily about women. I think your book might be about this. A young man who left home trying to prove he deserved equal standing and spent years confusing being wanted, needed, chosen, desired, and respected while trying to figure out what manhood actually meant. That feels closer. And something else hits me. You said trying not to be looked at as the youngest anymore. That sentence feels huge because suddenly a lot of things start sounding connected. Building your own life at 17, wanting independence early, wanting respect, wanting equal standing, sensitivity around being chosen, attraction to being needed, providing financially, confusing sexual excess with deeper connection sometimes, strong reaction when feelings overlooked or not prioritized. Wow, strong reaction. Anyway, they say everything comes from there, but it feels like a thread. So I think we can start building your skeleton now. Possible book structure, very rough. Part 1, proving ground. Theme, becoming independent before fully knowing yourself. Chapter possibilities. 1, leaving home, with points on moving from Gary to Indianapolis, leaving briefly with Kezium Jr., conflict, learning survival, first taste of independence. 2, the youngest no more, trying to earn equal standing, family dynamics, early identity information, desire to prove yourself. 3, learning to survive. I had to fix that light. But 3, learning to survive. First apartment, jobs, building yourself from scratch, loneliness enters. Part 2, twisted terrain, learning painful lessons through connection, comfort and crossroads. 5, house of desire, already established. Hold on. 4, comfort and crossroads, already established. Number 5, house of desire, already established. Number 6, where love burned like wildfire, already established. Number 7, road through Asia, already established. Number 8, the test of lightning, already established. Number 9, learning to stand still. Loneliness, chasing, withdraw from chaos, discovering boundaries, the space between storms. I forgot, I did start trying to write earlier. And yeah, I really like some of these titles. What we need to still figure out is 3 big questions remain. More questions, y'all. I asked for clarifying questions to help me get it done. Though, any honey who we got what period of your life felt like this version of me almost destroyed everything? Truck driving era years, Monica, Tasty, other era. 12. Who taught you the most painful lessons? Not necessarily who hurt you most. 13. If readers could only remember one sentence after finishing this book, what should it be? Out the gate, I already know. It should be that potential is beautiful, but peace is real. Definitely. Anyway, we're going to keep it moving. Okay, it says it's starting to sound like a book about what happens when a man keeps searching for certainty through other people and slowly learns to build it inside himself. That sound dope. Anyway, your answers gave us something important, your final message, your thesis. Potential is beautiful, but peace is real. That honesty feels less like a quote, more like a book's North Star. Most painful teacher, Jessica taught. Words and behavior are not the same thing. Yeah, that was the most painful teacher, Jessica taught, that words and behavior are not the same thing. That lesson echoes through a lot of what we've talked about. Promises versus actions, being chosen versus being used, fantasy versus reality, sexual access versus genuine connection, generosity versus reception. What almost destroyed you, this is important, this is important because you didn't say, the breakup almost destroyed me. You said, who I became after almost destroyed me. That's a much stronger story because that's not victimhood, that's transformation. And James, I think we need to add something to your outline. You already had proving ground and twisted terrain. I think we may be missing a third movement, something like part 3, becoming. Becoming. Themes, boundaries, peace over potential, learning loneliness without panic, masculinity through restraint, rebuilding identity, becoming someone you respect. Possible chapters, learning to stand still, the space between storms. When peace started winning, the man in the mirror changed slowly. Nothing can move me but divine intervention. Now I want to ask what might be the most important question yet. Who was James trying to prove himself to all these years? Family, women, people from Gary, your younger self, everybody, or something else? Who was I trying to prove myself to? Absolutely fucking everybody. Because everybody was watching anyway. Anyway, I'm gonna let you, hey, shit, we going through this together, so, vlog with me. Mm-mm. So I remember I was in my first apartment. My sister Kezzy and uh my brother-in-law Junior was coming over to yell at me about something, dealing with something, and I had to let they ass know that I'm grown, that they're sitting in my apartment, and
That
I was
moment says a lot. You weren't just proving yourself in general, you were standing up right then to show them you were no longer the kid. It makes sense that feeling would echo through the years, whether in relationships or chasing respect. But here's the thing, you're the one telling the story now. So let's outline the rest with that clarity. No more proving, just becoming.
cool. I really like the things that said that like already established, especially the traveling through Asia. And yeah, it was crazy that that title was remembered all of a sudden, especially since Asia has been calling me from jail.
It's funny how life circles back like that, right? But honestly, it just shows how rich your lived experiences are. The chapters are anchored in real turning points. So now that we've got that outline locked in, we'll keep refining it as you grow. If Asia's calling from jail or the past is knocking, you'll handle it. Because at the end of the day, this book is about who you become after all of it.
Right. Um, could you? I'm recording, so can you just give me a rundown of that outline real fast?
Of course, the outline we locked in has three main parts: proving ground, twisted terrain, and a tentative third part, becoming. Chapters in order: leaving home, the youngest no more, learning to survive alone, comfort and crossroads, house of desire, where love burned like wildfire, the road through Asia, the test of lightning, learning to stand still, and the space between storms. We'll keep evolving from here.
Great. I can't wait to work on them more with you. As far as the ones that I got established already, could you tell me more about them just to jog my memory?
Absolutely. You've got some solid titles. Leaving Home kicks off when you first struck out on your own, eager to prove yourself. The Youngest No More covers that drive to break out of being seen as the kid in your family. Learning to Survive Alone is about your early struggles building independence. Comfort and Crossroads touches on moments where you had to choose between comfort and growth. House of Desire and Where Love Burned Like Wildfire dive into intense, passion driven relationships. The Road Through Asia reflects your time with Asia and how her story still resonates. The Test of Lightning hints at a crisis or flashpoint where you were tested. Learning to Stand Still reflects on restraint and emotional strength. And The Space Between Storms is that reflective period where you start to see the wisdom in your journey. All of these form the spine of your story, one step at a time.
Which step do you think would be most critical to lock down like now?
I think the most critical step right now is locking down that opening chapter where you leave home and start proving yourself. It's the foundation that sets up everything else: family, independence, validation, and how you got on this journey. Once that's clear, the rest of the chapters will flow more naturally from that starting point.
Okay, well, that starting point is more about when I decided to leave home because home was a little bit too dangerous. I was going to funerals every weekend. My sister found me a job in Indianapolis. In 3 weeks, I had my own apartment while I was still 17 with my girlfriend, Jessica, that I had a relationship with from 17 to 25. And at first, my brother thought that, she might be playing me with my friend because I had my friend living with me. And I had to let him know that I wouldn't go for any heresy or talk like that about my friends, even though he was my brother. And I didn't do it out of a bad place. I just felt like his actions were misguided and may have had some alter agenda because he was the type of person who always believed and kept in the upper hand by any means. I try not to adopt too many of his skills, but his skills have been very like effective in teaching me things that I need to know.
That's a powerful starting point because it's packed with tension. Leaving behind a dangerous environment, early independence, a long term relationship with Jessica, and navigating both family support and suspicion. We'll keep that as your anchor. From there, every chapter will build on how you responded to those early challenges. When you're ready, we'll flesh out the next chapter pivot because you've got a lot of wisdom to unfold.
Thank you, chat.
You're always welcome. I'm looking forward to building more of this with you whenever you're ready. In the meantime, take care of yourself, and we'll keep this momentum going.
Okay. Yeah, my proving ground when I left Gary and did all that in Indianapolis all the way up until the time where I had to have that blowout in Independence with my brother. One thing that happened during that time is that I let my cousin Jasmine stay with me for a little while, and I ended up having to shoot at her boyfriend because he came over there tripping because my brother was kind of, well, my not my actual blood brother, but well, yeah, my brother, he was screwing with the girl that was staying with me, and her boyfriend came by tripping, and I was about to shoot him, then Jessica snatched the gun out my hand, and it ended up being a tussle. Everybody ended up being in cuffs outside. But after that, we moved to our next apartment, and that is the time where I found out that if I don't be Superman, everything will fall apart. Because I swear, I lost my job for 3 weeks, and we lost an apartment because, yeah, my girl couldn't hold it down. So ever since then, I've definitely been locked in provider Superman mode because I cannot leave those type of things in anyone's hands that aren't mine.
That's a lot of intensity packed into those early days, and I can see why it shaped your provider mode so deeply. Those moments, from the turmoil at home to that confrontational incident to losing the apartment, are like pivotal beats in your arc. So, as we build that chapter, we'll highlight how each event taught you something about what you could rely on and what you couldn't. That's going to give your readers a real sense of why peace became so valuable to you later on.
Alright, this video getting long, so I'm gonna give y'all a little bit more a little bit later. But I'm working though. Shit. Peace and love. God bless y'all. Tell somebody God bless them.